Virat Kohli just achieved his 49th century in ODI cricket. Here in the Cricket World Cup, the ODI format, the one-day international format, 50 overs, limited overs, but 50, which is more than double a T20 match, of course, and is the type of cricket, the format of cricket that I grew up with. There was no T20. T20 has only existed, really, in this century. And the ODI format for people in their 50s, like myself, it's more the format, in terms of a limited over format, that we associate with every World Cup I've watched. You know, it's come with that rhythm of 300 balls, 50 overs. It's a totally different rhythm from the rock and roll high-speed rhythm of the 2.5-hour match that a T20 match can be. And it doesn't have the beauty of a 5-day, unlimited overs test match, which is now my favorite form of the game. It's kind of crazy because when I was a child, I thought test was so boring. No, it's not crazy. I just said it's kind of crazy. And that, see, we were talking about how we say things as a rush, and we don't even really mean them. It's not kind of crazy. I think it's very common that when you're young, you don't want to watch a game that lasts 5 days long. And when you're old, you do. This is, I think, a common experience. What it does is show us about how sport can reflect time. And again, all my life, the art crowd, the art side of things, and the leftist politics side of things, they don't like that I'm into sport. They think me being into sport is a waste of time. And of course, it also comes with being a man, because male-dominated sports are sort of the focal point more than they ought to be. Way more money goes to them than ought to go to them. But sport for me is a reflection of time, and cricket in this example is a perfect case. A 50-over match compared to a test match, which lasts, you know, the sun rises, you play cricket all day, the sun sets, and you do that for 5 days, and on the last day you hope for 10 wickets. It's a different measurement of time. Now, I was bringing this up today because the Cricket World Cup is on. India is rolling. India is hosting the Cricket World Cup, and they are just defeating everyone. It's a very exciting time over there. The last Cricket World Cup ended in an amazing match, maybe the greatest ODI match ever, and it was hosted by England and Wales, and England won, though many of us feel that New Zealand really won. And then the World Series just ended in baseball, and Bruce Bochy, who brought us, the San Francisco Giants, 3 championships, our very first championships ever in San Francisco. We had only ever won in New York, and we had come close and lost in San Francisco, and this person, Bruce Bochy, was the one who brought it to us. He had been in San Diego, had taken the Padres to the World Series and been swept in the World Series. Then he came to the Giants, and the poor man had to steward that horrible last year of Barry Lamar Bonds' career when people just treated him so badly, and Barry was just marching along trying to get the record. And as he marched along trying to get the record, the universe was divided into 2 camps. And let me tell you, Barry's camp was very small. We who supported him, we had to do so quietly. The world hated Barry Lamar Bonds. And I was disappointed in that, but whatever. What are we going to do? We live in a world filled with people who can't see nuance, who struggle with forgiveness, and who get trapped in, well, this is my opinion, and I'm going to stick to it. It's a stupid, foolish idea. It's better to be like water, my friends, to be like the reed than the oak tree. But baseball just ended, and Bruce Bochy, who brought us 3 championships, just now brought the Texas Rangers their first championship. So the Texas Rangers, who had never won the World Series, have now won the World Series. So Bruce Bochy has given San Francisco its first ever World Series, and now Texas its first ever World Series. The Rangers, I mean. The Astros, of course, have done it. But this fellow, who was born in France, he is the only foreign-born manager to win a World Series, who has a uniquely huge head, everybody remarks upon, a size 8 1/4 hat he wears. And we now are just joking, that must be brains. That must be excess brains he's got up there. And whom we all used to kind of make fun of many times. You can look back at Giants Baseball Corner, my blog, and you can see like how many times we used to mock Bruce's decisions. I should say Skip's decisions. And he also is a walker. He went walking a lot when he was in San Francisco, which is one of my favorite things to do. It's the most beautiful city. You guys should just learn how to tune out the nonsense and tune in the quality, you know. And Bruce Bochy wrote a book about that, a book about walking in San Francisco. You can check that out too. But I was sitting here thinking, how many people on the planet are in my situation? I just watched every out of the World Series. I mean, I can tell you about Ginkel, the pitcher for the Diamondbacks that I really liked, and what an amazing job he did, or about Seward and how he got beaten, or about, every brilliant defensive play, because it was one of the best defensive World Series I've ever seen. The Rangers won without a single error, by the way. And the D-backs were right there with them till the last couple of games, and they started slightly to fall off. So I'm bringing this up because there's maybe on this planet, maybe 1 million people, maybe less, who are capable of or into or enjoying baseball all the way up to the end, to the level of detail that I do, and cricket all the way through every match the way I do. Where I'm sitting, what this requires is insane amounts of observation without sleep. I have to wake up in the middle of the night to watch 8-hour matches. I have to then grab a nap and figure out how to make it happen. And, okay, so this probably seems foolish. I guess that's what I'm getting at, the idea that this is foolish, or that this is a waste of time, or that this is somehow just petty or simple. I don't think that's true. I like sport, and there's poetry in it, and there's human drama in it, and there's obviously emotion in it. And I don't think about it win-loss as much as I do performance. And I enjoy having a team or a side. In the case of national sport, like obviously the nation of India is a nation where I was born. I was born on the soil there, you know. So I support my birth nation, or the nation of USA. You know, I support the USA in, the Olympics, or in all these events, all these things that are national events, right? So sport, I guess, has a socio-political element too, doesn't it? Few of us remember when President Carter and the athletes boycotted. It's incredible. We did that, and then we invaded Afghanistan and sat there for 20 years illegally and left. And now, look, we had President Carter boycotting the Russians for invading Afghanistan in the world of sport. And then we were the ones. And now still Russia. The athletes compete with a empty flag or a black square next to their names. Which is just like, so many of us can visualize. Maybe it's about as many people as who follow both the cricket and the World Series. That's about how many people who can visualize peace on this planet and shared thinking and a globalized idea. I have a cold, and it's been from all this weather, horrible changes in weather. It's hot, then it's cold, then it's hot, then it's cold. I'm so sick of it. And then Victor Wembanyama, the debut of the Frenchman in the NBA, which I have been highly anticipating. What a unique shape and form he has. It reminds me of how Barry Bonds, in San Francisco, when Barry Bonds came to the plate, everybody, even if you were not into baseball or sport, everybody had to look at the screen because it was the most exciting hand motion in the city. Like, he was so fast, and his hand was so incredible. and that home run was coming, you know. It was amazing to watch. And now Victor Wembanyama, you know, he has that kind of thing. You can't stop looking at him because his body shape and type and what he has trained himself to do and his flexibility is unheard of. It is, it's not even right to call it ballet because it's not that. It's like a spring. He's 19 years old and he's got so much spring that he can just jump and do the things with his body that others cannot do. And he's constantly active and he feels great and he's excited to play. Victor Wembanyama is giving me so much reason to live right now. As an old Spurs fan who had kind of stopped watching because we weren't playing very well and I missed our championship eras, it's so exciting to have the Spurs be relevant again, and it's because of this young man who is just a fascination of the highest order, a really skilled talent with physical attributes that have never been seen before. I really love that. So sport, you know, here we go. I'm a Spurs fan, and I've been watching the NBA since I was a little kid. It's the game I played the most, the game I was best at, basketball. I'm a good basketball player. And I'm a baseball fan because I'm an American, and I'm a cricket fan because I'm an Indian. And I'm watching all of these events, and each of these fan groups, they're somewhat isolated. And so then I ask myself, if I am this type of fan with so much details in my brain about all these sports, how many are there out there like me? The answer comes back, very few. It's the result of my transcontinental immigration and my interest being able to, I don't know, flourish in the internet era because I can watch everything now. It's awesome. When I was a kid, I would just have to hear about it. In the summers, we'd go to India and I'd hear about cricket from people, or I'd get to watch it while I was there, and then just people telling me about these incredible... There was no internet. It's... How many people on the entire planet do you think are following in very close detail the Cricket World Cup? The answer might surprise you. It's probably approaching a billion plus. It's a lot of people. How many people do you think follow the baseball, American baseball, from the beginning all the way to the end, the entire summer and the entire playoffs and the entire World Series every single year? That's probably, you know, could it be 100 million? And then basketball. How many people do you think follow the basketball, you know? American basketball. Because they're from different parts of the planet, I think the Venn diagram of people who follow these different things, when I was a kid, it was very small, of course. There was no way to watch any game everywhere. Now, children in India can watch every sport. My nephew does, I know for sure. But how many people do? Probably very few. And so when you're in that part of the Venn diagram, you know, and the seasons all collide, you find yourself sitting and doing crazy things to watch sport. And today I was just thinking about that as I'm watching the Cricket World Cup.